Yo, what if I told you that your entire life, up until this point, the entire time, it was just a movie? And you know what? I don't mean that in the sense where Andrew Tate is like, oh, you're just living in the Matrix, the government is after you, this everything is just going against you and stuff like that. That's not what I mean. So you see this exact picture right here, right? This might seem like it's a very simple picture, but this exact picture right now describes your whole life. So look, so I don't mean it's like, oh, you're the man, there's a woman and stuff like that. That's not what I mean. Forget about the man or the woman. This is the movie, right? So the man, the woman, the wind, the wall, the characters like the dog, the tree, all those things within your life are right here, right? It's just pixels. That's all your life. But if you think about it, how is this entire movie being created? Well, if you look right here, it's being created by this right here. So this right here is the source. This right here is the light that's creating the characters, the dog, the trees, the wind, everything within the movie. All of it just comes back to the source, which is the light, which basically means what I'm trying to say is that your life, it's a movie, but this whole movie, the source of it is the light. And this exact light can take shape or form of anything. So it can become anything. And Habibi, like the moment that I realized that this is truly is how life actually is like, it opened like a switch in my brain where it allowed me to like think or just know that if I want to change anything in my own life, if I go and change the form itself, that's the dumbest thing I can do. But if I can go back to the source and just play with the source, the things automatically they change. So listen, this is what it means. So it's like if I want to change this exact thing right here, right? If I want to change this, which is basically the form, in order for me to change it, is to realize that the form is not actually what exists. What does exist is what's beyond the form. Do you not remember? It's like, look at this. Have you ever seen this clip in the Matrix where the guy, like the young monk, was basically bending the spoon? Habibi, those things are real. So this guy's like, don't try and bend the spoon because that's actually impossible. Don't try and change this because that's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. And Neo was like, what is the truth? The monk is like, there is no spoon. Habibi, there is no object like this. This thing doesn't actually exist. Like this right here is just basically like something that we interpret as whatever this thing is called. I don't even know what this thing is called. But this whole thing is made out of like a bunch of atoms, and those atoms eventually like they're made by strings, and this string it goes back to the light. So just realize there is no whatever object this is. The only thing that exists right here is the light. So if I want to change this, then I need to know like how to change the light. And once I'm able to change the light, the form automatically changes by itself. Now, what's the proof behind this in terms of like Islam? Because this right here is like it's such a big spiritual awakening. Well, the biggest proof is this right here, which basically says Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves, what's within themselves. So this is what it means. It's like the entire light is actually within you. It's within yourself. And so if you look at this ayah right here, when I have proportioned him and breathed into him of my created soul, like you do realize like what's within yourself is something so powerful to the point that there is this hadith, which is hadith Qudsi, which means like it's the words of Allah, like it's coming from the words of Allah through the tongue of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which basically says, neither my earth nor my heaven can contain me. Indeed, it is the heart of the man of faith which can contain me, which basically means the heart, bro, the heart. The heart is the most powerful thing in the world. Just like how the earth is like so powerful and so big, the heart is like a mini earth with the same qualities of earth. So it contains everything. So within the heart is where everything starts, which basically means within the unseen is where everything starts. So if you learn how to play, how to use, how to change things in the unseen using the heart, then you'll notice that that is exactly how you change your entire reality. That is how you change the form. The form is only here because it's conforming what's within the heart, what's within the unseen. Now, all of this being said, you do have to realize it's like, yes, there is like a time delay. So just because today you changed your heart and it's like you're feeling amazing things and all that stuff, this exact moment you're expecting great things to happen and like your money to come down and happen and all that stuff, that's not just what it means. There is like a time delay, so you do have to realize that. Which means if you're living like a horrible life right now, just know that this horrible life is only coming because in the past, like a month ago or so, you've been living in such a state where your heart was not at ease. Your thoughts were not at ease. You kept getting negative things over and over again. And so as a result, a few days ago or a few days after, you created a horrible life, which also means like all of it, bro, all of it is just in your hands. Now, knowing that the entire life, your whole life is like a movie, and this movie the source of it is the light, and this entire light is actually something within you, how are you supposed to like change the light so that you change the entire form? Which basically means like how do you get more money, because money is form, get more things that you want in your life, because that is basically form, by changing what's within. So let me show you. So if you look right here, I talked about this in my previous video, but there's this thing called muraqabah in Islam. Now muraqabah, what it means, to put it simply, it just means to observe. Now listen, just listen, bro. Observing things is one of the most powerful things that you can do in the world. If you're able, Habibi, if you're able to observe everything that's going on within you, like within the mind and within the heart, that is so powerful. And the scientific proof behind this is this thing right here, bro, the double slit experiment. So the scientists, they did an experiment, it's called the double slit experiment, where it's like if they were looking at the electrons, they would behave differently than if they were not looking at the electrons. So when they're not observing it, it would basically become like a wave. And then when they observe it, it would become a particle, which basically means it's like the fact that you're observing things, you're changing things. The fact that you're putting your attention onto things, you're changing things. That's why I even told people, I'm like, Habibi, like as soon as you wake up from the morning, as soon as you wake up, go on your phone. I know people say don't go on your phone, right? But go on your phone and open up your bank account. Soon as you wake up, go and do that. Open up your bank account and just look at it. That's all you do. Just look at it. And even throughout the day, just open up your bank account and just look at it. It doesn't matter if it's 0, if it's 1,000,000, it doesn't matter. Just look at it. And also, that's why it's like the people, the ones that don't gain a lot of weight, are the ones that are always, every single day, they go on top of the scale. I noticed that. It's like for me, I'm not trying to gain like too much weight, right? And so what I do is that every single day I go on top of the scale, and just when I see the numbers, I'm like, oh, okay, these are the numbers. And just the fact that you're observing it is so powerful. So going back to this, muraqabah, the entire aim of this thing, well, it says right here, it's like union with God. All you do is just, you watch over the heart and the soul. That's all you're doing. You're just watching the heart and the soul. You're just sitting down and you're watching the mind, you're watching the heart. That's all you're doing. So it's like any thought that come into your mind, any feelings that come into your mind, you don't identify with it. You don't say it's like, no, I don't want that thought. I don't want that emotion. You just leave it by itself. You just watch it and let it go. And you'll notice too, bro, it's like, it's so powerful to the point that the first time I did this, I'm like, I did it, right? I was trying to be good at it. So I would just basically sit down and I would watch over everything. And so it literally felt like the thoughts that I'm getting are like waves in the ocean. They just come and go. They literally just come and go, to the point where I was like, I'm curious, what's the next thought gonna be? And it's like, where are all these thoughts coming from? It's so interesting. Like I never actually knew that my body contains all these weird thoughts that I was never aware of the entire day. And so it says right here, the objective of muraqabah is to purge one's base characters and develop lofty characters in its place. You'll notice the people that actually do muraqabah, they're the best people you would meet, bro. They're actually the best people you would meet, because it's like those people, they've mastered the self. Not obviously fully mastered the self, but they're aware of their self. They're aware of the evil of themselves. So they know how to keep that in check. And so it says right here, according to some traditions, it is said to have been the practice of Muhammad ﷺ during his stay in the cave of Hira before he met Jibreel. I mean, think about it. Muhammad ﷺ, he used to leave the city in Mecca and he would literally go and sit in the cave for so long. Like, what is he doing in the cave, bro? For so long, what is he doing in the cave? And the beautiful thing about this is that it does say one of the benefits is that you'll start getting kashf. Now, what kashf means is just like, it's like an unveiling, right? So it's like you live your whole life basically getting veiled, like you can't see some of the things in your life. And so once you start doing muraqabah, this exact meditation here, that's when you'll start seeing things that other people can't see. You'll start to get information that most people are not able to get. And this is because you're basically expanding your awareness. And by the way, bro, I get so many comments of people whenever I talk about meditation. They're always like, Habibi, you know when you do meditation, you're basically like, it's not you connecting with God. It's basically you connecting with the devil. So you're opening up yourself to the devil. Habibi, stop being small-minded. Are you telling me if you're sitting down and the only thing that you're trying to think of, and you're trying to put your attention on the only thing, which is Allah, you're going to start getting devils onto you? Like, Habibi, what are you talking about? I mean, like, I understand where it's coming from, because it is like you could say it's like a dangerous thing to do if you're not smart, which is basically sitting down. You know what, bro? I take that back. It's not even dangerous. What are you talking about? All you're doing is just sitting down and just thinking of Allah. Thinking of Allah. Forget the word meditation. Forget that word. That word does not exist. You're just becoming aware of Allah. And by the way, if you actually just think about it, the word meditation, what does it truly mean? It just means to become familiar with. So when you're sitting down and you're stopping all distractions and all you're doing is becoming familiar with the mercy of Allah that's always been around you, how is that bad? So stop being a dum-dum. You better not go and write down comments being like, no, bro, this is basically bid'ah, it's shirk. No one's ever done this in Islam. They have. You just don't do your research. Because by the way, these things, back in the day, they used to do these things but not name them anything. Now, we're naming them things because we're trying to get people back into it. And so as a result, it's sounding like it's not new. Or, I mean, like it's sounding like it's new, even though it's not new. And even look at, for example, Imam al-Ghazali. If you just look at, for those of you who are Muslim, if you just look at Imam al-Ghazali, you will see these practices all over his books. And so this is the beauty, because it says right here, the person is freed from both time and space. And so this right here is the things that every human is trying to achieve, being free from time and space. And you'll see like all the spirituality books, that's all they're trying to do. Like even if you read Joe Dispenza's books, he's like, all of his meditations, the entire purpose of it is to basically become independent and free from time and space. But if you think about it, who is the only being that's independent from time and space? Well, obviously it's Allah. Like me with a body, I'm not independent from time and space. I'm moving in space and I'm moving in time. But Allah is not moving in space and not moving in time. So what you're doing is that when you're doing this whole meditation, eventually you're going to reach this state called fana, which is basically like annihilation. So all that it means is that me right now, so when you're looking at me and you think it's like, my name is Muhammad, I have this body and I'm talking with this voice, this is me, right? But when you do this, you go through fana, which is annihilation. So me, I'll become annihilated, gone. And if I'm gone, who's the only thing that's left? It's just the will of Allah. That's all it is. This does not mean that you're God, by the way. It just means that like the fake you is gone. So it says right here, it's like you start feeling like a drop of water, aware of being part of the ocean. So that's exactly who you are. And even, bro, like the poetry that people write when they reach this state is so beautiful. So beautiful. So if you look at Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was like the perfect human being. And it's like, it wasn't like him. It was just like the will of Allah flowing through him. Like they say, it's like when they used to see him, it's like he's basically like a walking Quran, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's the beauty of it, because what we're trying to do here is that you're becoming so aware of the fake you to the point that the fake you becomes like chained. It becomes in control. And this is what it means when you get like a union between you and the divine. It's such a beautiful thing, by the way. So it actually says right here, this is such an interesting article, like the Wikipedia. Now the person becomes extinct in the will of God. Bro, this is such a beautiful state to be in. This is what the Sufis call the passing away of passing away. So it's like, this is when they say die before you die. And Habibi, the people that you meet that go through the stage, these people are the best people you see. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the best human on earth. He did go through all this stuff. So it's funny because when you start writing down comments, like hate comments and stuff, I don't even get mad because I'm like, well, okay, so that's the fake you talking. But it's like the real you would never say such things. The real you is perfect. And so it's actually hard going through this journey, because when you are trying to like reach the real you, which is basically the passing away, the fake you is going to get so mad. It's going to get so angry. It's going to basically, because Habibi, your fake you, it's realizing that now it's actually dying. And so if someone's about to die, they're going to resist a lot. That's why you're going to start writing down comments and being like, Habibi, screw you. You're talking about some nonsense. This stuff isn't even in the religion. Habibi, you just don't study these things. What happens is the person's awareness of Allah increases so much so that he forgets his own self and is totally lost in Allah's magnificence. Habibi, this is the best state to be in, bro. There was even a hadith that basically says, it's like when you go through all of this right here, Allah says in Hadith Qudsi, I become his sense of hearing and with which he hears, his sense of sight with which he sees, his hand which he grips, and his leg which he walks. So beautiful. And then it's like, we're nearer to him than his jugular vein. Habibi, like, bro, this right here, you could say is like the purpose of this whole life. Because once you go through all of this, it's like that's it. You're just flowing with the will of Allah. And then whatever you do at this point is going to be perfect. So it's like, just imagine the things that you do. If you're going to start a YouTube channel in the state, it's going to be a perfect YouTube channel. If you're going to start, bro, even if you're going to start creating a country in the state, the country is going to become the best country. This is why back in the day, there was like such a thing that's called the golden age of Islam, because people used to go through these things. They did all the inner work when Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was alive with them. So once you go through this inner work, Habibi, khalas, like peace on earth just comes. Like that's when you bring heaven on earth. And what I mean by that is just basically peace on earth. Don't be like, oh, blasphemous, bro. Come on, man. And so once again, when you do realize that, like when you do get in touch once again with the light, That's when you'll notice like changing the form is going to be so easy. Habibi, changing the form is going to be so easy because you go back to the source, man. So just to end this whole video off, it's like, how do you do this whole meditation? Because some of you guys are going to be so confused, even though when you are confused, by the way, just notice when you are confused through listening to all of this and through listening to on how to do this whole meditation, when you're confused on how to do it, think of or just realize who's the one that's confused. Think about it. Who's the one that's confused? Because the fact that you're aware that there's something in your brain that's being confused is good. It just basically means just be aware of the one that's realizing who is the one that's confused. Do you know what I mean? And so all you do to do this whole meditation is, again, bro, just like sit down, don't do anything. Just sit down, close your eyes, and then just become aware of what's happening here for 20 minutes, and that's it. It might seem so simple, but once again, awareness, observation is one of the most powerful things that you can do in the world, bro. Trust me, in the world. Like, just observing things is powerful. Through observing things, you're changing things. So just sit down and observe your thoughts, observe your heart, and just think of everything that's happening within you as like waves in the ocean. Just watch them and let them go. Watch them and let them go. And then slowly, what's going to happen is that you're going to start realizing, holy, what, bro? I've been here the whole time. This is the real me the whole time. The one that's aware of this the whole time. So this right here is the fake me. It's going to be a great realization for you. It's going to be a crazy realization for you. And then once you have like a consistent practice of this meditation, even if you do it for like 10 minutes every single day, once you have that, that's when you'll notice yourself, without me even having to tell you, on how to change form easily. So if it's like you're trying to get more money, well, now that you're aware of the fake you can just will it into the world. Like, all you do after that is just be like, Allah, may I have more money? And just money comes to you. It's actually that easy, bro. It's so easy and so simple to the point that your brain's going to start doubting it. But once again, just remember, who's the one that's doubting it? The one that's doubting it is the fake one. The one that's aware of the doubt is the real one. And this right here is how to control your life, which is the movie.